Good morning. Thanks for being here. I'm Stephen Romo in for Joe in Savannah today. And let's start with this busy Thanksgiving travel week. The crush is already on at airports, highways, even train stations coast to coast, with that record 80 million travelers heading out to their holiday destinations today alone. The TSA expects close to 3 million people to pass through airport security. AAA says there will be nearly a million more drivers on the road this year than we saw last year. But some good news there. The national gas average is down almost 25 cents. However, you'll want to be aware if you're traveling to the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic, you may need to pack an umbrella and also a winter coat because forecasters are predicting a wet and cold, possibly even snowy Thanksgiving Day. We'll have travel expert Katie Nastro here with some tips before you head out to your Thanksgiving destination, and meteorologist Angie Lastman standing by with that holiday forecast. But we start with NBC News reporter Gary Grumbach, who is live at a rest area in Woodbridge, Virginia, south of Washington, D.C. on Interstate 95, possibly the busiest highway in America today. Gary, good morning to you. I know it's still early out there, but things are already looking pretty busy. How are things going so far this morning?
Hey, good morning, Stephen. Yeah, things are already busy, even for us just to get here from the D.C. area. Things were slow going southbound on I-95, and you can see it's already starting to back up here on I-95 southbound. Northbound still looks pretty good. Our friends at Hertz, the car rental company, tells us that some of the biggest areas for their rentals are from Atlanta, Las Vegas, and Miami. So those areas are where we're going to see some significant traffic problems as well. But there is some good news when it comes to all of this. Those folks you see on the road right now, they are paying less for their gas than they were this time last year. Last year, we're talking $3.25 a gallon for regular. This year, down almost a full quarter, just over $3 a gallon. Some places, you're paying less than $3. So that's some good news on this Thanksgiving holiday, Stephen.
I'm sure those people seeing traffic at 7 a.m. will take all the good news they can get. And 307, not too bad, Gary. Let's also talk logistics. If people are heading out today, what are you hearing about the best time to hit the roads, and what areas might travelers just want to avoid and be on the lookout for those traffic jams?
Yeah, ideally, the best time to hit the road is right after Angie and I talk about this, because this morning is going to be the best time, before 10 a.m. local time, wherever you are, preferably. This afternoon is going to be the busiest. Folks getting off work on their Wednesday, headed out to Grandma's house. That is when we're expecting the busiest time. And, of course, those metro areas that you expect, New York, L.A., Austin, Texas, bigger cities, that is where we're going to see some of the most traffic.
All right, and Gary, we're going to get more about the forecast from Angie in just a moment, but parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic, they are expecting the wet, wintry weather in the next 24 hours. What should drivers keep in mind for those conditions?
Yeah, so we have a fancy graphic with some tips here for you, but I think the first one that's not listed on there is just use your common sense, right? It's rainy, it's snowy in some parts of this country this week, so you're going to want to take it slow, right? If the speed limit's 70, maybe go a little bit less than that so we're not running into each other. Also, we're going to make sure that we're not using cruise control. It certainly would be convenient to use cruise control, especially on I-95, up and down the Eastern Corridor. That is not something we're going to want to do when it's rainy, especially tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day. And, of course, when we hear this all the time when it comes to severe storms, the idea of turn around, don't drown. Don't be going through standing water in your car. Again, just using common sense on this holiday. Stephen?
Common sense goes a long way. All right, Gary, thanks so much. All right, now let's check in with meteorologist Angie Lastman with your morning news now forecast. A lot of parades, a lot of stuff happening, Angie. This wet weather is not very welcome.
It isn't, and it's not all bad news. We do, of course, have some trouble spots, Stephen, but there are some spots across the country that you're going to have delightful weather. We'll get to those, too. We won't leave you out. This morning, even across the east, mainly quiet. Most of the country pretty quiet. We just have this batch of some snow and some rain, that kind of wintry mix stretched across the Rockies. That's part of the system that's really going to be giving us the headaches over the next couple of days when it comes to travel or getting where we need to go for our celebrations. Here's how it plays out through the day today. Notice by the time we get to 8 p.m. tonight, so this evening, that rain has shifted into the Ohio Valley. We're seeing impacts across the Midwest. But this morning, it's the snow across the Rockies that'll slowly but surely taper off as the morning goes on. And then this rain works into places like St. Louis and Cincinnati as we get through the day. By tomorrow, here comes the rain for the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, as well as parts of New England, picking up some additional snow. We're also going to see some wind. So the roads are going to be difficult. We'll likely see slick travel and slow travel from basically Virginia up to Maine. This is going to be kind of pesky for, of course, parades that Stephen just mentioned, but also just travel in general, getting to and from where you're going. Big picture today, if you're headed somewhere, I think most of the country, again, quite nice. The portions of the south, you're not going to see likely any delays. Up and down the East Coast, not expecting any air travel delays from Boston to Atlanta and down to Miami. Even Dallas, Houston, Phoenix, LA, all look pretty good when it comes to air travel. It's just Denver and St. Louis that I think could be a little iffy with the snow and the rain. And that goes for the roads in those areas as well, going from Cincinnati to St. Louis and out towards Denver. That's where you'll likely see some slower goes when it comes to road travel. As we get to Thanksgiving Day, here's that big batch of rain with that system working east. The wet snow, the strong storms, that's all on the table for folks. Elsewhere, Chicago, Kansas City, Denver, Salt Lake City, you're going to see dry skies. Now, some spots will be quite cold. I mean, very cold in parts of the northern plains with just 20s for our highs. But you're not going to see likely any delays on the roads. It'll just be the east that things are kind of a mess. So Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., down to Jacksonville, that's where things will be a little iffy for folks. Wrapping up the holiday week and heading into the weekend. Here's your Friday. Notice better conditions, especially across the East Coast. All of that rain works out. We've got dry skies and bright conditions left behind. But notice the lake effect snow that's going to ramp up. This will be something that's going to be impactful through the weekend. So this is Friday, but likely in places like Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, we could see some delays ongoing throughout the weekend. Those are the spots that we're going to watch for Friday, though. It'll also be windy, but anywhere else, I mean, San Francisco, Denver, Atlanta, Charlotte, New York, all look pretty good when it comes to airports for Friday if you're heading home. On the roadways, again, it's going to be right around the lake effect areas that we could see a little bit of a slower go. And that's the main story here as we get into Saturday, too, Stephen. We see temperatures, of course, dipping down in places like the northern plains, just a high of 19 degrees for Minneapolis. That's the start of the next trend that we're going to see over the coming days. The cold air filtering in, it's going to feel like winter. We've had a fairly mild fall for a lot of folks, and that's going to be a big change up here going through the next couple of days. But if you're still going to be traveling home on Saturday, New York, Detroit, Chicago, not expecting a whole lot in the way of delays, but again, that lake effect snow, it'll be impressive, and it will cause, of course, some slower goes on the roads as well, but pretty good for Saturday across the country. And finally, Sunday, there it is. It's the big story hasn't changed a lot. We've got great conditions out west, the Southwest specifically, mild into the mid-60s for Las Vegas, low 50s for Atlanta. The lake effect snow still ongoing. This is going to be one that really piles up in some of these areas, but the cold will get your attention. Chicago, your high on Sunday, just 29 degrees. We head to the mid-40s in Wichita. Raleigh ends up just at 49 degrees. So ready or not, here comes the cold air. If you are traveling in the airports, Detroit, Chicago, really the only potential areas of issue. But I think, look at all that green up and down the East Coast. That's great news, especially for hubs like Atlanta, Dallas. We've got Los Angeles, too, with nice conditions for getting home and finishing up that holiday weekend.
I just realized I want to go to Vegas for Thanksgiving.
Should we?
Yeah, let's go. The mid-60s?
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. And dry skies. I mean, no complaints from our friends in Vegas.
No, not at all. All right, Angie, thanks so much.
You got it.
Well, despite the forecast, it is expected to be another busy travel day, of course, today, all across the U.S. ahead of the holiday tomorrow. So if you are in the middle of packing up and about to head out, we have some advice on how to make your holiday travel as stress-free as possible. For more on that, let's bring in Katie Nastro, travel expert for the travel website, going.com. Katie, good morning to you. Thanks for being here. So a lot of people have already headed to the airport or they've hit the roads. How are we looking in terms of delays and cancellations so far, and how is the rest of the week shaping up?
Yeah, Stephen, it actually is looking pretty good. Good news coming into this Wednesday before what I like to call the Super Bowl of travel weeks when it comes to how many people are hitting the road as well as the skies. We're seeing that even yesterday, there were only some delays and little to no cancellations. And we know that cancellations are far harder to deal with for travelers. So anybody that was dealing with the delay, you get to your destination a little bit later. Cancellations, you have to deal with rebooking, or per the new DOT regulations, you are able to get that refund, but then that means having to figure out alternate means of transport. So this is a hopeful spot for people traveling this week so far.
Yeah, people will take all the hope they can get. And as we've already reported, about 80 million people, they are traveling for Thanksgiving, according to AAA. The TSA has already seen a record number of screenings for other holidays this year. So what is your advice for travelers who can maybe how they can find a way to save some time as they do head to the airport and get in those lines?
Yeah, look, the 2024 is record-breaking even outside of this week. We've seen the 10 busiest days on record ever recorded by the TSA. So it's likely that this week, as well as heading into the winter holidays, you're going to experience busy airports, and that can compound into long lines for coffee, as well as checking in bags. So, some of our best pieces of advice, obviously arriving early, but if you can try to avoid checking a bag, not only are you going to avoid bag fees that have risen in the last year, but also that's another long line you're going to have to wait in, as well as I always like to download the airline's app so I can map out the exact time that it takes from security to get to my gate that my flight is flying out of. That way, I'm really budgeting as best as possible how much time it takes to then factor in for coffee or bathroom stops or whatnot, as well as downloading the My TSA app to get real-time updates on what travelers are seeing through security, especially for those of us that don't have TSA PreCheck, which if you apply now, you can get it for the winter holidays, and that is always a time saver when it comes to navigating those long security lines.
Yeah, PreCheck. I actually just got it this year. It is a game changer. Katie, we know Black Friday is a big day for deals, but there's also Travel Tuesday, which is next week coming up on December 3rd. What are you watching for deal-wise on that day?
Yeah, Stephen, Travel Tuesday is a funny one. It's really taking the travel world by storm, and we're seeing promotions even before the day is even here. And so we want people to go into it with a trip in mind, do a little bit of back of napkin math in terms of how much they believe this trip will cost. And we want people to also be a little bit skeptical. We know from our years of experience at going that advertised deals aren't necessarily the absolute best deals. So we want you to have an air of cynicism and triple check that fine print, because a lot of these deals that we are seeing already have blackout dates, are only allowed to travel in between certain months, non-refundable. And sometimes, for example, the best deals are tied to loyalty programs that you might not be a part of. Now, they are free to sign up, but again, we don't want you to get sort of tricked and taken thinking that one price is not necessarily available to you. But we are seeing some good deals, especially over to Asia. Average price of airfare for Asia is down 13%. So this is definitely a time to jump on deals like heading to Tokyo from San Francisco for only $560 round trip, or you can head to Bali from the West Coast for $643. All of those are full service airlines available right now during the Travel Tuesday ahead promotions.
Some good deals in there and some healthy cynicism. I like the sound of that. Katie Nastro, thanks so much. All right, let's turn now to some major developments out of the Middle East. A ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah went into effect overnight. That's after a deal was finally agreed to on Tuesday. The 60-day truce led to a lot of relief in Lebanon, which bore the brunt of the war. Israel's bombing campaign killed more than 3,800 people in Lebanon and displaced more than 1 million people. This morning, thousands of those displaced civilians are returning to their homes in southern Lebanon, despite warnings from the IDF that it is not yet safe. In Israel, the reaction has been more subdued. More than 100 people were killed there, and 60,000 were forced to leave the northern part of the country due to Hezbollah rocket attacks. The U.S. and France brokered this deal, and President Biden laid out the main terms of the agreement at the White House yesterday.
This is designed to be a permanent cessation of hostilities. The Lebanese army and state security forces will deploy and take control of their own territory once again. And over the next 60 days, Israel will gradually withdraw its remaining forces. And civilians on both sides will soon be able to safely return to their communities.
NBC News correspondent Hala Garani is in Jerusalem for us this morning. And we're also joined by White House correspondent Mike Memoli. Good morning to you both. So, Hala, let's start with you. The ceasefire, about 10 hours old, a little more than that right now. How is it holding, and what has the reaction been from Lebanon and Israel this morning?
So it appears to be holding, as you just said. It's about 10 hours old, this ceasefire, as the call to prayer here sounds over the Jerusalem rooftops, where I'm coming to from East Jerusalem. It appears to be holding some minor skirmishes in southern Lebanon. As you said in your intro there, the IDF is warning residents of southern Lebanon not to approach certain positions. They have opened fire on, we understand, one vehicle that approached an Israeli military position today. So it is designed, this deal, to be a permanent ceasefire, though in effect, of course, the proof will be of the pudding, as we say, will be in the eating. In other words, will it hold? There are a lot of spoilers along the way, whether or not Israel will fire back, if it believes that Hezbollah is violating the terms of this ceasefire, how the mechanism for respecting the terms of this ceasefire will operate, and also in Israel itself, when the residents will go back, because the prime minister in Israel has told his countrymen and women not to go back right away. But what you're seeing there, by the way, on the screen are images of cars backed up bumper to bumper going back to southern Lebanon. Here in Israel, about a third of respondents in one recent poll said they think this ceasefire deal is a good thing. About a third said they didn't think that it was a good thing. Many people who oppose it believe that Israel needed to go further in defeating Hezbollah before signing an agreement, Steve.
Well, Mike, let's bring you in here more on that agreement. What do we know about how the U.S. and France actually brokered that deal, and what are the roles of those countries going forward?
Well, Stephen, U.S. officials had been working for months to try not to just to bring an end to this conflict, but to prevent it from escalating into a broader regional war. We're told by U.S. officials that a real breakthrough came, in fact, just days before the U.S. presidential election. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu summoned a top U.S. national security official, Amos Hochstein, to come to Jerusalem to tell him in person that he thought there was a window of opportunity to get to a deal. So we had several weeks of more intensive diplomacy involving Hochstein traveling throughout the region. President Biden placed a call directly to President Macron of France just on Friday as this deal was finally coming together. And these two countries do play an important role in enforcing this ceasefire now. What this deal does is take an existing mechanism that had been used to settle a similar conflict in 2006 involving UN peacekeeping forces and the Lebanese army, adds to it the U.S. and France, who would play a role essentially as a mediator if either side sees that there are violations to this ceasefire agreement. President Biden, during his remarks in the Rose Garden yesterday, insisting that there will be no U.S. troops, boots on the ground, but U.S. officials are saying that U.S. military personnel will be involved in a supporting role as needed as the situation unfolds.
Hala, NBC News has just released a new investigation called Zone of Destruction, and it actually talks about what awaits the displaced Lebanese people when they return home to southern Lebanon, as we saw on screen, that bumper-to-bumper traffic you mentioned. What can you tell us about that and what might await them?
Well, this NBC News investigation has revealed that 5,500, 5,600 or so structures in the zone that the IDF occupied in the south of Lebanon have been destroyed. In other words, about 40% of the buildings in the zone occupied by the IDF have been destroyed, and many, many more in parts of central Beirut. As we've been reporting over the last several weeks, some very powerful bombs were dropped on densely populated areas in the Lebanese capital, taking down sometimes entire buildings. But in the south, well, all these people who are going back often will find their homes completely destroyed. Some of the residents have spoken to journalists on the ground, telling them that they don't even recognize their streets, can't really figure out even among the destruction where their homes are. So this is going to be a very painful homecoming for a lot of Lebanese people from the south, and it's going to certainly take a lot of time and a lot of money to rebuild, Steve.
Yeah, Zone of Destruction, that investigation really helps you see the scope of that destruction. It's online now if you'd like to find it. Mike, with the news about this ceasefire, can this tell us anything about whether the Biden administration might also secure a ceasefire and hostage return in Gaza? Is the president optimistic at all that he can get something done before his term is up?
Stephen, that is absolutely the hope of President Biden. Obviously, in his remaining 54 days in office, there is no higher diplomatic priority than seeing and hoping that this initial ceasefire with regard to Lebanon can be a stepping stone towards further progress as it relates to Gaza. We heard the president talking about the important diplomatic work that will take not just the U.S., but some of its key regional partners yesterday in the Rose Garden. Take a listen.
Just as the Lebanese people deserve a future of security and prosperity, so do the people of Gaza. They too deserve an end to the fighting and displacement. The people of Gaza have been through hell. Over the coming days, the United States will make another push with Turkey, Egypt, Qatar, Israel, and others to achieve a ceasefire in Gaza. With the hostages released,
now, there are two tracks, really, to the conversations that are happening going forward. One are obviously the direct conversations involving Israel and Hamas. But secondly, the U.S. is really counting on regional partners, including Egypt, including Jordan, the Qataris as well, to provide a plan to help rebuild Gaza once a ceasefire is potentially reached. Another important factor, of course, is the Trump administration coming into office. What role would they play? U.S. national security officials have been in touch with their Trump counterparts, as any potential agreement that would be reached in the coming months would ultimately have to be enforced by the incoming Trump administration.
And Hala, on that front, do we know inside Israel, does this ceasefire deal have any momentum or pressure that is being placed on the Israelis to get a ceasefire deal for Gaza, hopefully for that hostage return?
Well, we heard, as Mike mentioned, the president state that his hope is that this will give a ceasefire deal in Gaza momentum. But on the ground, that is not at all what we're seeing. In fact, the Israeli military is intensifying its bombing campaign. Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister, in his address to his nation, in which he outlined his reasons for accepting a ceasefire agreement with Hezbollah, said that the war will not be over until Israel eliminates Hamas. And as many military experts have said in the past, eliminating Hamas in itself is a virtually impossible task, so that you will have some insurgent warfare taking place across the besieged strip. And so therefore, if Israel's stated goal is the elimination of Hamas, then it's difficult to see how a war or a ceasefire can be achieved in the less than 2 months that President Biden has left in office. But as you mentioned, Steve, the big question will be what happens when the Trump administration takes over. Will they push the Israeli prime minister to accept some sort of deal that will lead to a cessation of hostilities, so that President Trump, when he does take office, the future President Trump, will not have a war sort of ongoing just as he starts his new term in the White House?
A lot of changes on the way on that front as well. Hala and Mike, thanks so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.